Good evening once again. So our topic this evening is principles of weight management. So I have a question for you. Do any of you know someone who at some point in their life has struggled with the weight loss? Does anybody know someone like that? Okay, except for Paul. Paul needs to get out and meet some more people. It's a common problem. And let me ask, I don't know if any of you here have struggled with weight issues. Well, actually, some of you I know, but anyway. Let me ask, what's the reason for concern? Why is it that people want to lose weight? For their health? Okay. Sometimes that's true. Any other reasons? For their looks. Okay. Okay, so for functionality, so you can do more things. Anything else? Those are the. So you don't have to buy new clothes? Maybe. Although, most of the people I know, when they're successful at losing weight, they're happy to buy new clothes. If they're gaining weight and they have to buy new clothes, they're not usually so happy about that. So there's lots of reasons to think about the importance of proper weight. And so the first one that we said is the one that I think about the most, and that is health. In other words, long-term health, the ability to be functional, to do the things that you want to do, to spend time with the people that are important in your life, and to do that for a long time into the future, and not die from some lifestyle-related disease 20 or 30 years before your time. And I think we all know that obesity is associated with lots of health problems. Heart attacks, strokes, cancers, musculoskeletal problems, hips, knees, back injuries, all these things, all are impacted by being overweight. And now, over the last 20 to 30 years, we've had this strange phenomenon of having more and more information about health and fitness, more and more pictures of people working out in advertising and online, and yet we have a greater problem with obesity in the United States than we've ever had before. So somehow something is not, all of this knowledge and all this advertising and emphasis on weight and being thin, and of course we talked about, somebody said vanity. We see pictures of models that are, and every once in a while you hear some controversy about a model being airbrushed in, or different body parts being used to get a certain look, and it just makes you think, what's the point of all that? But yet we're still left with this problem. A growing percentage of Americans are overweight, and not only adults, but children. This is the biggest challenge that we have right now, is children and young people are developing problems that 30 or 40 years ago were pretty much adult problems, and now they're becoming childhood problems. And so we've had to change a few names of things. So, for example, we used to have something we call juvenile onset diabetes and adult onset diabetes. Well, we've changed the names now because adult onset diabetes is becoming common in people in junior high, because they are becoming obese and developing diabetes as a result. So it's a big problem. tonight I want to present to you some basic concepts, and the first one is to recognize, before we get to that, just to recognize that there is no secret, despite what you may see on the internet or read in the magazines. There is no secret thing that you can do to magically lose weight and be thin without having to diet and exercise. There's no way that you're going to be healthy without eating properly and exercising. It's just a lie. And it's usually attached to a scam because somebody's trying to get your money because you're desperate, and don't fall for the scams. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Okay, and nowhere else is that truer than it is in this whole industry of weight loss. There are literally billions of dollars spent every year on weight loss products of all kinds. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But before we get to those details, we have a couple of charts that I printed out. Oh, they printed on both sides, so you can hold it either way. At least this one did. That one's just on one side. Well, we'll just pass it down the aisle between. No. So you guys can share, pass this around. So just a quick orientation. BMI stands for Body Mass Index. And it's a ratio between your height and your weight. So how this works is you look over here and you find your height. You look over here and you find your weight. And then you follow the lines, and wherever that meets up, that's your body mass index. And you'll see this is color-coded with underweight, healthy weight, overweight, obesity, and extreme obesity way over here. So sometimes there are people that are off the chart in one direction or the other. If you're not on the chart and you want help to figure that out, let me know after the program. But most of you will be somewhere on this chart. And one thing that I hear a lot of times when I have patients in my office is that, oh, I have big bones, and this chart doesn't really account for that. And so my answer now, I used to try to reason with people. I gave up reasoning with people. So my answer is, if you can show me a six-pack instead of a beer belly, then I'll accept that excuse. Okay, but if you don't pull up your shirt and look, if you don't see a six-pack there, go by the chart. Okay. So go ahead and pass that around. I suggest that you make note of your BMI, and then a healthy BMI is going to be somewhere in that green zone there, and then you can use that to work backwards to get to what would be a good healthy weight goal for you to work towards. Okay? So I think you all can manage that, and if it's too confusing because I printed the chart upside down or something like that, just let me know. I'll be happy to try to help you with that individually. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I just want to say, so any questions on this before I go to the next slide? You get the idea, so you can write those things down for yourself. The next slide here is number one. I already hinted at this. You should avoid what? What do you suppose? Diet pills and fads and scams. So let me just summarize. Most of the things that are being sold out there, in the diet pills, special diets, and supplements, the secret supplement from wherever. Usually it's from some exotic place and it has a fancy name, and it costs, only $50 a bottle, and you need a bottle every 10 days, but they'll give you a deal and it'll only be $39.95, whatever. So the way that I think about these things is the majority of them do not work. Just a simple fact. The majority of these things do not work. The others, the ones that do work, are bad for you. And so far, I haven't found any exceptions to that. So there might be an exception out there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. I've had patients bringing me things to look at for the last 15 years at least. I've been looking at this juice and that berry and this pill and the other secret formula. And when you look them, the ones that work, they work by messing with your metabolism. And they will mess you up. And even the ones that are FDA approved have warnings and significant side effects. And you probably know some of them have been taken off the market because they kill people. And so the ones that are still on the market, they kill people, but just not enough people to matter to Congress. All right. I personally know a friend of mine who she was quite anxious to lose weight. She'd struggled with her weight kind of up and down for a while. And she found this product that was supposed to be really good, and it had good reviews, and it was only $230 a month. And she thought, well, that would be worth it if I could just lose these, whatever, I think she wanted to lose 40 pounds or something like that. So she got on this product, and after a couple of months of taking, it was a pill. You know, you take this packet of pills with each meal, and you're supposed to do a sensible diet and exercise program, but whoever does that, you know, you take the pills and you hope for the best. Well, she took the pills, and after a couple of months, she just wasn't feeling good. So she actually went to her doctor and found out that her thyroid was wrecked. And the most reasonable conclusion was that it was this supplement that she was taking that messed up her thyroid. And so she had to get off of that and be on thyroid medicine. Still, years later now. And another case, I had a patient of mine, a young lady who was, again, desperate to lose weight. You ever feel desperate? You know, when you start feeling desperate, you're ripe for somebody to come along and victimize you by offering you a false hope. But if you're desperate enough, you try anything. I have people that tell me that, I'll try anything. Oh, really? Oh, wow. You know, there's lots of scams we can offer you. I could scam you for only $200 a month and save you money, you know, and I'd give you something that wouldn't actually kill you. But anyway, so this young lady, she was desperate to lose weight. So she got on a combination of energy drinks and a weight loss supplement from a local doctor that I won't name. And in about 3 months, she went crazy. Literally, she had to be in a mental institution and was being treated for bipolar disorder that is triggered by the caffeine that was in the products that she was taking. Both the prescription product from the doctor as well as the I forget if it was Rockstar or Red Bull. It was one of those energy drinks that she was drinking in addition to the prescription medicine. It was horrible. It was horrible. It ruined her life. All in a desperation to lose a few pounds. So don't get caught up in that stuff. It's like pretty much they're all either scam and they don't work, or if they do work, they're going to cause you trouble in the long term. Even the FDA recommended ones it's recommended to only use them for short term. Well, if you're only going to use it for short term, then what are you going to do? Say you take the medicine and it helps you lose 20 pounds, and then you have to stop taking it, then what's going to happen? If you didn't change your lifestyle to a healthy lifestyle, you're just going to gain it right back. You might as well not even do that, because you're better off to stay at the weight you are than to go on this yo-yo thing that actually messes up your metabolism even worse. You're better off to not even do that at all. Okay? So, That's number one. Avoid those things. You're just going to wreck your bank account or your health or both. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of being healthy, right? All right, so next, number two, you have a blank there. What does it say? Blank 5 to 6 times a week. Something you should do 5 or 6 times a week. Exercise. Okay? Exercise. 5 or 6 days a week. I advocate exercising 6 days a week and resting on one. It says something about that in the book. If you look it up, it says rest one day. The other days you should be working. So, exercise. So now, what kind of exercise and how much and all of that? Well, it depends. It depends on what you need to do, on where you are, what your level of health is, what injuries you have to work around. But you got to do the exercise. There's really not a shortcut around it. If you want to be healthy, there's no shortcut around that. There's liposuction, right? Oh, I didn't talk about that. You can lose all the weight you want with liposuction. You go in, take a little nap, you wake up, you lost all the weight. Does that make you healthy? No. You can donate it. That's actually true. Yeah, there are plastic surgeons that will do a tummy tuck for free on the condition that you donate the skin. It's usually for burn victims that need skin, and if you have extra, they donate it. So yeah, I've had a couple of patients that have done that. I've gone and gotten a free tummy tuck and donated their skin to burn victims. So yeah, exercise. So I recommend that you do a combination of what's known as cardio, or I think of it as metabolic conditioning exercise. So that's something where you're moving a lot and breathing fast and your heart's going and you're sweating, and muscle building exercise. So whether it's weightlifting or calisthenics or gymnastics, all those kinds of things. A combination of those sort of things. I thought you were saying wheelchair. Well, yeah, wheelbarrows. Yeah, so there's all sorts of exercise. And if you think about it historically, people got enough exercises because they chopped wood with axes and they carried water in buckets, and so they didn't have to go to the gym. But now we have so many labor-saving devices, we don't get any exercise, so we got to make up exercise to do. It's true. It's true. You don't have to do that. You can do that at home and just walk everywhere and do everything by hand, and you probably wouldn't need exercise. So anyway, I recommend a combination of both muscle building exercises and cardiovascular exercises. I'm planning to do a talk in a couple of months about exercise and how to design your own exercise program. And that will be not just focused on weight loss, but the general fitness and health and how to design your own program. But the basic key for weight loss is exercise more. Okay. Next one is, before I get to that, actually, I just wanted to share a little concept. And this is physics. It's physics. In order to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you consume. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. So all the magical thinking about that's not true, and if you just eat a certain whatever, none of that works. It's basic physics. You have to burn more calories than you consume. So now there are indeed genetic differences among people as to how efficient their fire burns. You can think of it that way. Some people are genetically more like economy cars, and some people are genetically more like sport utility vehicles, and some people are more like race cars. Okay? But all of those things you can adjust and modify, not so much the genetics, but the end result. And the key way of doing that is exercise, number one. And then we're going to talk about eating. Now, eating is something I'm guessing you all like to do because you all showed up here to eat. And you just happened to stay for the talk. So that's okay, I understand. No judgment here, I get it. I like to eat too. So the bottom line is exercise more, eat less, you'll lose weight. Okay. Now, the rest of this talk is a little bit more details about that. Yes, Hap. If you exercise and you continue to eat the same calories, you'll lose weight. We're talking about shifting the balance. Okay. If you're
already heavy and you're eating 2,000 calories, and you begin to exercise, and you continue with that, unless you do a lot, you're not going to lose much. You're going to have to cut down on the calorie intake and increase the exercise.
Right. So what happens is, ideally, if you want to lose weight, you need to shift both. Exercise more, eat fewer calories. What happens a lot of times is people go on a diet, they just eat fewer calories, but they don't start exercising. And what happens is our bodies adapt to that and our metabolism slows down. And so then you plateau. And then you give up and then you start eating more. You're going back to the diet you were on before. Your metabolism slowed down, so you're not burning fuel as much. And then you start eating more, and that's why you gain back 15 pounds for the 10 that you lost. So the same thing happens, although it's less so. If you just start exercising and you keep your intake the same, you'll lose weight. Eventually, your body will compensate for that. Your metabolism, your basal metabolic rate will adjust, and you'll lose weight at a much slower pace, or maybe even plateau, because your body adjusts so efficiently. So in order to keep that from happening, it's really ideal that you should adjust both at the same time. Increase the exercise, decrease the caloric intake, and do that consistently over time. And then when you're approaching your ideal weight, then you kind of nudge those things just a little bit. That's easy to do. It's easy to overdo it, okay? But it's easy to stop losing weight, but it's hard to kind of keep that calorie deficit there. But that's how you do it, is increasing exercise, decreasing what you're eating. All right, so next on the list here is, I've got there 5-6 days a week, aerobic, muscle building. Everybody understands all that, right? Number 3. What's this? Exercise before breakfast. Now, why would that be? If you're trying to lose weight, what do most, and this connects with couple farther down, but let me just ask you this. When is your blood sugar the lowest? In the morning. Probably for most people around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And it creeps up a little bit before you wake up, along with the rest of your metabolism waking up and getting ready for the day. But so during your waking hours, generally speaking, your blood sugar is going to be the lowest in the morning right before breakfast. Well, what happens if you exercise when your blood sugar is low? Yeah, so you use up the blood sugar that you have pretty quickly, and what happens if your blood sugar starts to go too low? You pass out. You go into coma. Okay, if you have a normal body, what happens is your body goes, blood sugar's going down, send out glucagon, which is a hormone that does the opposite of insulin, and it starts pulling fat and processing it in your liver to make it back into sugar. that cool? You like that? Your body starts sending out hormones that tells your body to take fat out of storage and turn it back into sugar. Because sugar is what your muscles burn when you're exercising. So that's what we want. If you're trying to lose weight, we want your blood sugar to be low, not dangerously low, so you're passing out. Okay? But for most people, you might feel a little like your blood sugar is low, but unless you're taking some medication that makes it too low and keeps your body from responding appropriately, most of the time your body will respond by converting fat back to sugar and burning that sugar. So the best time to exercise if you're trying to lose weight is before breakfast in the morning, when your blood sugar is already going to be low. All right, next, this is the infamous number 4. Some of you have been waiting anxiously. What's number 4? Don't eat. Just don't eat. You'll lose weight and then you'll plateau. Yeah. Don't eat between meals. Just don't eat between meals. It's really not that hard. I've been not eating between meals for 46 years now. I feel pretty healthy. I think I'm doing okay. And you will too. So the thing is, you probably heard some people say that if you're trying to lose weight, you should eat 9 meals a day and sensible snacks. Have you heard that? Or 6 meals or whatever, all this stuff. So there is a little bit of evidence that by eating continuously through the day, you do raise your basal metabolic rate a little bit, which might contribute to weight loss. The problem is 2 things. Number 1, when you're hungry for a snack, what do you get? Crackers. No, you get a Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. You remember that one? Yeah. So why? Because it's break time. It's the middle of the morning. Probably your blood sugar is low because you had too much junk for breakfast, and then it starts to go down again, and so you grab a candy bar or chips or crackers or something. So the majority of the time when people snack, they're not eating a balanced meal. They're eating a snack that's high in either fat or sugar or both. So just don't do it. Okay, secondly, our stomachs actually are designed to digest our food and then to empty that partially digested food into the small bowel and then to rest. And then when your stomach is rested, then you eat another meal, your stomach is ready to go and do its job. What happens if you snack in between meals is you have half digested food and then you put some fresh food down on top of that and your stomach has to keep working, and then you get to the next meal and you're still digesting the partially digested snack and you eat another meal, and so your stomach is working continuously all day long, and it sends signals like, I'm tired, I'm sore, and you think, oh, I'm hungry, and so you go and eat some more and beat your poor stomach nearly to death, and then it gets back at you by sending up little acid plumes, and then you have to go and buy an antacid. They're very, very popular for that exact reason. So we find when people stop eating between meals, good 80 to 90% of the time the acid reflux problem goes away, and you're not eating all those extra calories that you don't need. So don't eat between meals. Yes?
What do you do about a diabetic who has been told that a little bit?
Normally, I educate them to realize that that's not actually true. It's a myth that's held over from the days of the old-fashioned insulin, when all diabetics were treated with insulin, and they didn't have a way of checking blood sugar back in those days. So what they would do is they'd have you pee in a cup and check your urine for ketones. Okay, but that was not really very accurate and not really up to date. So what they did was they would give you extra insulin and then tell you to eat more, so that way they hopefully kind of even things out, but it wasn't really ideal. Okay, so but that's still stuck in the minds of people, like, oh, I have to eat. And most dietitians today will tell people, they'll tell you to eat healthy snacks, just because everybody thinks you need a snack, so they'll tell you eat something healthy like peanut butter or carrots or something like that. But you really shouldn't need to. If you're using a modern insulin in the correct doses, it should cover for the meals that you eat and shouldn't cause a problem in between meals. If it does, you need to probably talk with your doctor about that.
Hypoglycemia?
Hmm?
Hypoglycemia.
Yes, what about it?
What about snacks? Healthy snacks?
Yeah, that's a good question. Generally speaking, what I have found, I'm trying to think if there's any exceptions. So the question is about people who have hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. What I have found is that almost all the time we can fix that by creating healthy, balanced meals at meal times with the proper balance of complex carbohydrates and fats and proteins, and that evens out the metabolism so you don't get the highs and lows. Because what almost always happens before a low episode is there's a high, which you don't feel, you feel fine, and then it goes low, and then you feel that, and then you treat that. So almost always there's this up and down, and we can fix that by fixing the meal. There may be exceptions to that, but I'm just trying to remember if I've ever personally seen any. I don't think so. I think always I've been able to fix it by fixing the meals. Okay, what's number 5? Oh, we already said that. Just eat less. Eat less. I know this is really simple. I didn't say it was easy, but it's really simple. Eat less. Nice. I like this one here. Hundreds of years of medical progress, and all you can tell me to do is eat less?
I remember when Buffett or somebody says, I always go away from the meal feeling slightly.
Yeah. So I don't know if I recommend always going away from a meal hungry, but I will tell you it's okay to be hungry. Did you know that? It's okay to be hungry. And I think a lot of times that's what people actually are experiencing when they think they have hypoglycemia. They're just hungry. And in fact, there's a connection, because when your blood sugar starts to go down, a signal goes to your brain, hey, we have low blood sugar, and your body interprets that as being hungry. And so sometimes it's appropriate to eat, and sometimes it's not, depending on your situation. Yes?
Like some of this is trained when you're young.
Absolutely.
You have to finish all the food on your plate because there's hungry people, starving people.
Yeah, so by you eating that food, it's going to help those poor starving children in Ethiopia. So logical. But you can't argue with your mom, can you? I mean, you can, but you probably shouldn't. So, yeah, but most of you here are adults, so it's time to grow up. Take responsibility for your decisions. So, eat less. So how can you do this? I had one patient who was 350 pounds or something like that, and he was one of those guys, Doc, I'll do anything, just tell me what to do. And I said, okay, you want to know? Yes, I want to know. Okay, you have your dinner plate. When you eat dinner, how many times do you go back? Oh, 2 or 3 times. Okay, just get smaller dinner plates, fill it up one time, and that's it. And when you finish that plate, put it away and you're done eating for that meal. He's like, okay, I'll try it. So he went and tried it and came back a month later, and I think he'd lost 15 pounds or something like that. Just by filling the plate only once and not going back for seconds and thirds and fourths and snacks here and there and all this other stuff. Okay? So that's just one way to limit yourself to eating less, and you can have a full plate of healthy food, but you don't need 2 or 3 or 4 plates full.
Don't go to buffets.
Buffets are dangerous if you're trying to lose weight, that's for sure. Okay. What's next? Breakfast should be the largest meal of the day. Again, this goes back to basic energy management. Supper should be the smallest meal. What do you do after supper? You sit on a couch and watch TV until you fall asleep. Okay, not all of you do that, but a lot of people do. And even if you don't do that, you probably don't go work 12 hours after supper, do you? You probably go to bed. And you don't need a lot of energy to lay in bed for the night. So you don't need to eat a lot then. And in fact, turns out if you eat smaller meals in the evening, you'll actually sleep better. So you have more energy to get up and exercise in the morning than if you eat a big meal at bedtime and your poor stomach is working overtime while you're trying to sleep. It's just not fair. Let your stomach sleep when you do. There's another one that says that too. Any question about that?
Yeah, you haven't eliminated lunch.
Big breakfast? No. So lunch is in between.
Okay.
Breakfast is biggest, supper's the smallest, and then lunch is in between. That's what I like. Now, sometimes for people who are in sedentary jobs, people who have limited ability to exercise, may benefit from having just 2 meals a day. I don't prescribe that for everybody. I think there's good reason for the 3 meals a day tradition, but 2 is okay. The 1 meal a day thing I haven't really found to be healthy. So either of the extremes, the 9 meals a day or the 1 meal a day, it creates metabolic problems that we don't want to have.
How do you eat your popcorn?
That's your light meal in the evening.
Normally for supper in the evening, although sometimes at breakfast when it's left over from the night before.
No bad time.
Okay. Now I told you to eat less before. Now I'm telling you, eat more.
I thought that was going to be.
That could be. I could have made it number 4. Eat more. Eat more. What should you eat more of? Fiber-rich foods.
Vegetables.
Foods the way God makes them grow. Mainly fruits and vegetables. Okay, so eat more fruits and vegetables. Just that right there. If you look at your plate, and Vicki had it almost right tonight. She didn't know I was going to say this, but she did pretty good. Half of the plate should be fruits or vegetables, and the other half should be your other stuff. So on our thing tonight, we had...
Count the vegetables on top of the...
Yeah, if we count that, then it comes out pretty close to half, right? You understand what I'm talking about? So your grains, your beans, your proteins, your starchy type things, the potatoes and all of that, it's going to be on one half. The other half should be fruits or vegetables. Okay. And if you must go back for seconds on the fruits or vegetables. That's something even Weight Watchers got that one right. I think they let you eat as many vegetables, raw, fresh vegetables as you want. Oh, okay. There's good reason for that. So eat more of whole, fresh, unprocessed foods, which happen to be Rich in fiber. Somebody over here said that. Eat more fiber-rich foods. And if you want a number for that, your goal for fiber for the day is 40 grams. 40 grams, which is a fair amount of fiber. But if you eat lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, you'll get to 40 without too much trouble. And then you want to eliminate the other stuff, processed foods. And why eliminate processed foods? On the context that we're talking about tonight, mainly because they're almost always high in calories. Because the food industry takes out the vitamins and minerals and leaves the calories, and then they sell you the vitamins and minerals separately. Why are you laughing at me? You know it's true. The thing is, they don't sell you all the vitamins and minerals. They feed most of those to the hogs. It's true. You know, I would tell you, many Americans would be better off if they ate pig food instead of going to fast food. It's true. I'm not saying I recommend that. I'm not saying it's ideal, but yeah. Okay. Less processed foods, more whole foods. Got it? Okay. Next one, eat your last meal at least 3 hours before going to bed.
That's going over here. You just ruined it. Y'all said 6.
Sorry. 3 hours. Okay. There's actually a study was done quite a few years ago on weight loss, and it found there were several key things that they found, and one of them was that people who ate their last meal 7 hours before going to bed always lost weight. Like, that seems to me like that must be a 2-meal-a-day plan, breakfast and lunch, and then you go to bed at the normal time. Okay, so that's actually not a bad plan if you're really serious about losing weight. For myself, I mean, it depends on your activity level and what you do during the day. Okay, for a lot of people, like we already mentioned, the 2-meal-a-day plan may be good, but not for everybody. So I've kind of scaled that down to say that 3 hours gives you a good time to get most of the digestion done, so you're not just going and laying down right after you eat. Yes, Liz. How many apples makes 40 grams? Depends on how big they are. Are they like 10 grams or 20-gram apples? Yeah. So if you want to know that kind of stuff, you can look that up. They probably have books at the library, or you can go online and find charts that have lists of how much fiber is in different types of foods. Yeah. Yeah. Google actually has a pretty good service on that as far as the nutritional value of stuff.
4.4 grams.
Per what? For an average apple? Okay. 10 apples a day. 4 for breakfast, 3 for lunch, and that leaves 2 for supper. There you go. An apple out. All right. Yeah, so I'm not saying to eat just apples. You understand that. But that gives you an idea. If you did that, you'd be getting your goal for fiber for the day. What's number 9?
Drink water.
You guessed it already. Drink water. Oh, I can't go back. Can I go back? It won't let me go back. Drink water. Don't drink anything else. Did you hear that? Don't drink anything else. If God intended for you to drink something else, you could hold your glass under the tree and catch it as it drips off and then drink it. I don't think there's anything you can do that with. So, just drink water. Why do I say that? Well, 90% of the stuff that they sell you to drink is what? Processed stuff. Right? It's got sugar, has artificial flavors, and high fructose corn syrup, and all this other junk that you really shouldn't be putting in your bodies. Okay? So you can make an exception for that if you want to have a little juice with your meal. Okay. But don't go and be drinking all that other junk. There's no need for that.
What about the new beets?
The new what?
Beets.
New beets?
Grinding up beets.
Okay.
Making beet juice.
Yeah. Okay. So beet juice, it turns out, actually has a significant benefit for high blood pressure. So I actually prescribe drinking beet juice as a medicine for people that have high blood pressure. So there may be some exceptions, but as a general rule, you don't need to be drinking beet juice all day long. That'll cause other problems. Right? So if you're going to drink something other than water, I recommend a minimally processed fruit or vegetable juice, and in small quantities with your meal. Yeah. Yes, Bonnie.
All I was going to say, wouldn't it be better to eat the beets and then you'd have the fiber to?
Probably.
Because then you're taking care of your high blood pressure and your kidneys.
And you're getting some fiber value there. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good thought.
But just remember that you ate them before you turn around and look.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll
You'll go
get a little
out
surprise.
screaming because you think you're bleeding.
Yeah. All right. So have we been pretty clear so far? None of this is secret, like magical, secret hidden stuff. It's just the real deal. Okay? And every single one of these things is completely doable. It's not some huge thing that you just can't figure out. You can, all of you were smart enough to figure out how to get here tonight. That means you're smart enough to figure this out. It's not that complicated. The challenge is that it's not easy to do all of these things. And that's kind of the number 10, and this is where guaranteed results. So number 10 guarantees the results, and that is be consistent, be persistent, be consistent. If you do all of these things every day for the rest of your life, you will find a healthy weight. Guaranteed. Or your money back. Yes, Hap?
I was going to say that when you're on a diet, watching the scale isn't always, as if you begin an exercise program, and you cut down your calorie intake, muscle weighs more than fat does, and as you exercise, you begin to
Right.
build muscle. You might be losing inches without losing a pound. So don't always let the
That-
scale be an answer.
Yeah, and that usually happens somewhere about 3 to 4 weeks in, where people will plateau as far as their weight. And I've had this happen quite frequently, where people, they'll start on a program, they're excited, they're doing good, they're losing weight, and they get into week 3 or 4 and they didn't lose any weight. And they're all discouraged and ready to quit. And say, well, do you feel like you're smaller? Or yeah, I had to get smaller pants this week. Well, there you go. You know.
That they put out is if you can pinch an inch.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it. So be consistent. Actually do the things. They only work if you actually do them. Like the exercise, watching it on TV doesn't count. It doesn't work. Okay? You have to actually do it. And thinking about eating less and think, well, I'll start tomorrow because today I have leftovers from the Super Bowl party I got to finish up. So maybe next week we'll start. That doesn't work. Start now, today, and then be consistent, day after day after day.
That's why I put persistently.
Persistent, yes. Now, I want to point out the little note at the bottom of the page, just to give you some perspective here. I recommend to people that are trying to lose weight to think about a pound a week is a reasonable, healthy goal for weight loss. And that's true whether you have 10 pounds to lose or 50 pounds to lose, 100 pounds to lose. Now, if you have 100 pounds to lose, you could probably be safe at losing 2 pounds a week. Okay? But the general rule of thumb is a pound a week is safe and it's actually quite doable. I was just talking to a patient of mine last week about this, and she actually listened to some advice that I gave her at the end of last year, and she started cutting out sodas and going for a walk. That's pretty much all she did. So between December and January, she lost 15 pounds. Pretty good. And all she did was cut out sodas and start going for a little walk every day. And I just was excited. She was excited. She was more excited than I was, but it was pretty cool to see just the simple little change. And I gave her the little warning. Said, look, be aware that in the next month you might not lose as much, but you're going to continue feeling better. So be persistent and keep at it day by day by day. So a pound a week. So this patient I was just thinking of, she had a goal. She still wants to lose 50 pounds, which was a reasonable goal. We sat down, we looked up on the BMI chart where she is and where she wants to be. And I was like, okay, that's a reasonable goal, but stick with a pound a week. If you do a pound a week for a year, 52 pounds. Wow, that's a huge difference. And it's much more sustainable if you make little changes in your lifestyle that you can do day after day after day. In a year, you look back, it's a huge difference. It's much better than going on some fad diet. Was the celery diet, where all you eat is celery and celery and grapefruit. You've heard of this diet before. Your mother tried it. Okay. You know what? Yeah, I think my grandma had the grapefruit diet thing posted up on the wall in the kitchen. Do you remember that?
1950s,
Yeah.
early 1950s.
Was it? Is that how long it had been there? I don't know. Anyway, being consistent with small changes, but in the right direction, and just doing it day after day after day. Pound a week for a year is 50 pounds, 52 pounds. That's incredible. Incredible.
Actually, you'll find an increase in your energy levels.
Most people do, almost immediately. I have one other patient that I met him again after not seeing him for about 6 or 8 years. Saw him a couple months ago. I didn't recognize him. Came up and introduced himself to me. He said, Dr. Hess, I just want to thank you. For what?
I don't know you.
I don't know. I didn't recognize the guy. He's like, well, you helped me lose weight. I'm like, oh, great. I'm glad I was able to help. What did I do? And he said, well, that one day that I came in and you sat down and actually talked to me about my health and what was going on. And I remember you took almost an hour with me telling me about how to lose weight and all that. And the nurses were upset because you were behind the schedule and all that. But I decided to actually do what you said. And he said, I lost 50 pounds and I've kept it off for the last 7 years. I think, that's exciting. That's exciting. And so I don't even remember the discussion, but I know what I told him was pretty much what I just told you in the last hour. You know, and he said he just decided just to do it. And so he did. He didn't make a lot of radical changes, but he started making little changes consistently. Lost 50 pounds, and he kept it off for all those years. And that's really exciting. Pretty cool stuff. So I know that some of you are thinking, well, I've tried this before, and I haven't been able to stick with it. How do I stick with it? How do I make these changes permanent? So in anticipation of that question, that's what I'm going to talk about next month. You have the little flyer there already in front of you. How do you make lasting changes and make them a permanent part of your life? And so that talk next month is going to be not only about weight loss, but really applies to any kind of change in our lives, changes that we want to make. The principle is the same, whether you're talking about changing how you eat or changing your devotional life or changing how you relate to people, anything that has to do with things you do over and over again, that's habits. All the principles for changing those are the same no matter what area of life you're talking about. So next month we're going to talk about how to be successful in lasting change in your life. And you can apply that to this topic of weight loss, or you can also apply that to any other area of your life. All right, we have a couple of other cute little sayings here. Consistency is not perfection, it is simply refusing to give up. Yeah, just don't give up, keep going. And then this one here, I like this one, an old Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. That was also the best time to quit smoking, get your weight under control, start the exercise program, and start reading a book a week and whatever else you wanted to do. The second best time is today. So if you already missed the best time, take the second best time. That's today. So start putting these things in practice, and you'll find you have more energy, feel better, you have a whole new outlook on life, and you'll be amazed at how much better you feel. So I look forward to hearing the stories from you guys. 5 years from now, you can come up and introduce yourself. And say, no, I did. Next week. Yes, Bonnie, you had a question? Oh, yeah. I never got to explaining that, did I? So I sidetracked myself by telling stories. So a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. 3,500. So if you want to lose a pound of fat, you have to change your calorie balance by 3,500 calories in some period of time. So if we're going to do a pound a week, that's 3,500 calories a week. If we divide that into a day, it's how much per day? We're mathematicians, 500 calories a day. Okay? 500 calories a day. So if you think about one soda has 250 calories. So if you drink one less soda per day and you go for a walk that burns 250 calories, you're going to lose a pound that week if you do that every day. A typical granola bar has about 250 calories. A couple of handfuls of chips, those little snacks. Those most little snacks, they're around 200 to 300 calories. So we're talking about just cutting out that little bit and adding a little bit of exercise here in a day, moving 500 calories that way instead of this way, and then doing that consistently. So that's what that was about. Yes? One is calories and the other one is kilocalories. So on the nutrition labels, those are actually kilocalories, which is 1,000 calories.
So
Same as when you read the labels and it says there's so many calories in there. That's what we're talking about. Okay. We got to wrap up. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it.